Dwindling supplies of reserve list cards. Can your LGS resupply them for you? Hi everyone and welcome back. MTG Moxman here. If you're new to the channel, you've just found me in the nacho cheese universe of YouTube. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed the content and left some comments in the comment section. So, restocking the reserve list. It's not coming from Wizards of the Coast. They have a promise to keep. They are not reprinting reserve list cards. They've been slapped on the wrist enough times. I just think they're done with it. So it's going to have to come from who? The player base. It's supply and demand out there. So you have a whole bunch of classifications of card. You know, condition is everything. That was yesterday's video. You guys saw that. But when we're looking at the cards, some people do want near mint. Some people sell for lightly played, moderately played, heavily played. But every time there is a buyout, when a buyout occurs and hundreds of copies of a card leave the market, most of the people buying out take the near mint first. So they buy the near mint up. That goes into their little personal vault. I got the Moxman vault. I'm sure there's the Rudy vault. There's a Nachos and Cheese vault, the Taco vault. There's probably a Pizza Hut vault at somewhere. I'm sure there's one out there. So these go and get put away. And those players are happy. But new players come on and say, oh, I want that card. I've got to have it. Now, it isn't always high-end reserve list cards we're talking about either. All right, the cards disappearing are across the entire spectrum of the reserve list. Remember, there are 572 cards on that reserve list. And when one of them gets bought out, it needs a restock. When another one gets bought out, a totally different... Let's just say number 1 is a Black Lotus, and number 497 is Thrall Champion, Go Team Thrall. When one of those numbers gets bought out, if the number goes high enough, stores, players, people who have means start looking through collections to say, hey, what do I have here? Do I have something I can put back out onto the market? There's a certain segment of that group, they're going to sell their cards. They're going to cash in and make some money. And then those cards get restocked. But as I just told you, like when Triangle of War went for the big buyout, people were buying the near mint copies. They bought out so many. They also bought the lightly played, the moderate. They bought whatever they could find across multiple platforms. And then they were just gone. And I'm watching the restock now. I'm seeing the cards slowly come back on. And what I've noticed is, I used to like seeing 20%, well, 15 to 20% near mint cards available. That was a good healthy number for me of cards available to be bought that were near mint. Then you had 10 to 20% being lightly played, and the rest were moderate, heavily played, damaged in some cases. I didn't care about the mix after that. But when you start seeing near mint cards not coming back to market, when a near mint card gets bought and it gets taken off the shelf and taken into somebody's collection, they want to get a whole binder full. It's their first metal worker they wanted to get. They're after a copy artifacts. They go for a near mint copy. It's one less because it's going into a deck or into somebody's collection, and those players want it. And some other players said it was a good enough price, so they sold it on the secondary market. Those transactions are slowing down. The sales are higher, but the restock doesn't come back as, oh, I found a near mint copy in my collection. It's, I found a moderately played one in my collection. I'll put it a little bit lower so I can sell it. That's not healthy. That's not healthy for the reserve list. Let me explain. Every time a buyout happens and we see 100 near mint cards leave the market, let's use Soldevi Excavations. 100 near mint Soldevi sold in the last buyout. Wow, 100 of them. But only 26 came back to market 90 days later. Only 26. 100 left, only 26 came back on. And those 26 were at a higher premium. Even now, I talk about Soldevi's price being much lower. Yes and no. You can find a Soldevi Excavations for $14, $15 US. But if you want a near mint copy, you're talking $45 Canadian still. Still almost the $50 mark I told you guys I was going to stop buying it at. So I'm not buying near mint ones right now. I'm buying the moderately and lightly played ones I can find. But that near mint now has a pricey premium that you will have to pay. The same goes for Metalworker, Tolarian Academy, any card on the reserve list, even Thrall Champion, Go Team Thrall, has a premium attached to that card. it costs that much more because it's a good copy. All these cards we're hearing about, tens of thousands of millions of cards in back rooms, in bins, in bulk boxes, stacked away, just waiting to be sorted through to put those reserve lists back into the restock. Like, okay, I found 50th World Champions, I'm putting it back on so people can buy them. But they're not near mint. A lot of cards were used and abused. So I do believe there's lots of cards out there on the reserve list to come back to market. I don't believe they're near mint. I've been following the tracking, looking at the sheets, the sales, what comes back on, what is left. It's a lot less near mint every time a buyout happens. Whoever's buying out generally targets a near mint quality card if they can afford to. If the price isn't too high of a premium, they go after it first. That's why low-end reserve list cards that nobody says they care about, the first thing that happens is the near mint copies leave first. Even if it's a little bit more, 20, 30, 40, a buck more, that's what people are buying. They're taking those offline. And then when the restock comes, it's light played, moderately played, heavily played, because people went through their bins and said, hey, this card's worth money. I'm just going to go down and sell it. I'm going to put it on the market and see what happens. I don't care if it's heavily played. The Triangle War is up to like 20 bucks. A Wandering Mage is like $25. If I can get my heavily played one for like $5, that's awesome. But it's not healthy for the restock because there's less available for players to buy overall, and the ones that are available are of questionable condition. It's just not quite where people want it to be to have it in their deck. Unless you're just looking for a played copy, then hey, have at it. But if you're looking for that near mint one, maybe send off for grading, maybe finish a collection, or to put in like a pristine deck you're building, you are going to be paying a hefty premium. And that shows you that the supply in that particular card is lower than expected. Because there are less on the market, players can charge a higher price, a premium, supply and demand. So when a restock happens and you see a near mint card is a little bit less, there's just a few less of that near mint one, maybe a few more of a moderately played, you can always email me and ask the question, but I'm telling you, you'll probably notice it yourself without having to ask me anything. If you're looking for it, you'll see it. Every buyout, every time it seems to happen, I've watched full restocks happen over a 90, 120 day period, and it's slower, a lot more moderately played. People went through their bins. So you're right, there's lots of cards out there, but they're not good condition. They're not gradable. They're playable, but they're not perfect. And all these low-end reserve list cards everyone says are worthless, if you're going to buy them, I would definitely go for a near mint copy if you can afford it. Get it out of the way, get it into your collection so it's not going to be an issue for you down the road if you're trying to be a collector, if you're trying to flip, if you're trying to invest in these cards. And oh, heaven forbid we make money playing Magic. It's a great fun game, but there is that financial aspect that nobody can avoid because the game is worth money. So if you can afford a few extra bucks, go ahead. Because I'll tell you right now, when the near mint start going, and then the lightly played, 10 years from now, they all start getting picked off at the same rate the near mint used to. People used to tell me, oh, there's 100 years worth of near mint cards available. Of all these amazing Magic cards, we have 100-year supply. We're 30 years in. Supply is dropping. There's a long road to go. It's a big highway of cards, don't get me wrong. And many reserve list cards are very affordable. Super cheap still even. After the last crash of stuff, super cheap. But many are expensive. And there's cards that people may want to get that are slowly going to uptick. Every time a little mini buyout happens, the near mints are the first to go. And what happens when there's no near mint Spirit Shields available? Those will be at a premium. And somebody out there, forget buying out an entire card. I understand the complexities of trying to buy out a card. But how about somebody just buying out the near mint copies of a card? The near mint forks, the near mint copy artifacts. How many are actually near mint? How many people have been picking over those cards the last couple of years saying, I'm being selective and I'm picking the best ones? Go look for a near mint City of Shadows. Go take a look. Pause the video. Go look and see. I'll wait. Glad you're back. What'd you see? 250, 300 bucks? Weird, right? For a near mint copy? And it's going up? maybe there's a few less than people thought of near mint copies of those type of cards, or even lightly played. It is something people are going to have to think about going forward. Deciding if you can settle for a moderately played copy. A restock will happen. The prices will eventually drop back down. But you're going to have to settle for a moderately played copy, not a near mint, for that same price. You want the near mint, you're going to pay the premium. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video today. Just something to consider. Look forward to seeing everyone's comments in the comment section. Have an awesome day. I'll see you tomorrow. And of course, a big shout out goes out to all the fantastic patrons on the channel. If you're hoping to join my Patreon, there is 1 or 2 slots available. Have at it if you're interested. Thanks for supporting, everyone. Patrons rock! I'll see you guys soon. I gotta be honest, we're here at the end of the video. And lately, the last couple of days, all I'm thinking about now is New Capenna and Baldur's Gate Commander Legends. Because now it's coming up sooner than you think. You're like, are we going to see jeweled moxes? Did I call it? I get excited. I hope you guys are having an awesome day. Leave a chainsaw comment, chainsaw, in the comment section if you made it this far. I'll see you guys soon. Have an awesome evening.